Efficient and timely service, multiple platforms for doing business. These are just a few of the changes being implemented within state-owned entities under the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program. We have the details on that program on today's show.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JI's News for Tuesday, October 1. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has put forward several proposals to allow small island developing states like Jamaica to adapt to and mitigate the effects of climate change. Among the proposals is a change to the system of assigning countries status based solely on their gross domestic products (GDP). Instead, Mr. Holness is calling for the measurement to be based on a vulnerability index aligned to countries' susceptibility to climatic events such as hurricanes and earthquakes. Mr. Holness was speaking Friday at the Small Island Developing States Accelerated Modalities of Action Samoa Pathway. Prime Minister Holness also called on the international community to consider a debt swap for climate action program. Mr. Holness says such an initiative would allow vulnerable economies to properly care for their citizens.
If we could reach a consensus on that there can be a system of debt swaps in exchange for the commitment that whatever is relieved by virtue of that is spent on climate action, I think we'd be on a good pathway.
Prime Minister Holness meanwhile called on developed nations to deliver on their pledges to endow the Green Climate Fund. The goal is to reach $100 billion per year by 2020 to assist countries with funding to become climate resilient.
That commitment, in the grand scheme of things, with what is spent on defense and all the other things that are not as important as climate change, these are solvable problems. And I think you could make the Caribbean region an example.
Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey says international collaboration is needed to combat the issue of lottery scamming, which has been plaguing the island, particularly the western region. Mr. Bailey was addressing the Caribbean Policy Research Institute Capri report on scamming, gangs and violence recently.
I believe if we are going to deal with the issue of transnational organized crime, there has to be coordination, there has to be intelligence, there has to be a quest to identify the money, track the money, and seize the money. There has to be international collaboration.
The Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police says global data suggests that only a mere fraction of 10% of fraud cases are reported by victims. Mr. Bailey emphasizes that while there are social intervention programs to reach the youth, that's not enough to reach the core of the issue.
We have to ensure that there is adequate laws that are enforced, and the penalty, in my view, is significant to send the message as well as to take the profit out of the crime.
The report on scamming, gangs and violence was carried out between 2008 and 2018 as part of Capri's Transform Citizen Security a Yard project. The project is aimed at using research and analysis to improve the immediate and long-term security of citizens through coordinated action between relevant government institutions and civil society. Government is set to train more individuals in mediation and dispute resolution. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck says this forms part of the government's plans to help reduce the backlog of court cases.
We need more mediators right across the island, and that is where lay magistrates, having had this training of trainers in the lay magistrates role, many of you will be called upon again to become trainer of trainers in mediation. because mediation is the way for us to reduce the backlog. Because at the end of the day, we must show results.
The minister was speaking recently at a training seminar for judges and lay magistrates titled Train the Trainer Session, Lay Magistrates Court. Minister Chuck also says government is committed to expanding restorative justice as an alternative for fighting crime and improving the efficiency of the justice system. The training seminar forms part of a partnership between the governments of Jamaica and Canada. 100 wheelchairs have been donated to the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Kingston Public Hospital KPH to improve services within the public health sector. The chairs were provided by the international non-profit organization, the Wheelchair Foundation, through its local partners, the Rotary Club of St. Andrew and Operation Friendship. During the handover on Thursday, Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton expressed gratitude for the generous donation and encouraged others to do their part to revitalize the spirit of volunteerism in the society.
It is important to emphasize and to highlight the critical role that volunteerism and giving back plays in the development of our society. These 100 wheelchairs are going to make 100 persons, and in the case of KPH, we're hopefully to be used significantly to and fro. It will make many hundreds of persons happier and feeling better in our society.
These wheelchairs are a tremendous contribution that will assist our patients for whom walking is difficult or impossible due to illness, injury or disability to move around easily.
Meanwhile, past president of the Rotary Club of St. Andrew and chairman of the Wheelchair Project Committee, Lloyd Eubank Green, told JIS News that in addition to the 100 wheelchairs donated, an additional 180 chairs are to be distributed by the Rotary Club of St. Andrew to persons in need. Interested persons may contact the Rotary Club of St. Andrew or call 876-833-6594 for further details. The Denhamtown Primary School, founded by late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, is to be renamed in his honor. Minister of Local Government and Community Development and Member of Parliament for West Kingston, Desmond McKenzie, made the announcement recently. He was speaking at the launch of the Edward Seaga Scholarship Awards, providing grants totaling $14 million to students at all levels of the education system.
The Edward Seaga Scholarship will take full responsibility to keep your children in school. Those in university, all we are saying to you, Edward Seaga set certain standards when he was alive, and it is your requirement to maintain that level in high school and in university.
The renaming of the Denhamtown Primary School is among several initiatives being undertaken by residents of West Kingston to pay tribute to the man who served as their Member of Parliament for 43 years. This will include the construction of 2 classrooms at St. Aloysius Primary to be used for Spanish and music, as well as erecting a monument at the Tivoli Gardens High School. And finally, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is urging persons seeking employment to consider career options in the industry. Minister Bartlett says training is available for jobs in the sector through the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, Team Jamaica, as well as the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program.
We're concerned about creating opportunities for more people to express their creativity and to expand their reach of participation in economic as well as social development.
The tourism minister says approximately 120,000 persons are directly employed in the sector, with another 250,000 indirectly working in the different areas. Mr. Bartlett says a number of traditional and non-traditional jobs are available in the industry. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Go there, I work for the fitness, man. No, the fitness, I'm a care fitness, man. I'm paying a tax officer.
Oh, yeah. But not for run, man.
Oh, respect.
No man, I mean, you know, for going there, man, you can pay vehicle fitness online.
Yeah?
Yeah man, TJ make it easy for you now, you know, so now no excuse.
Yeah?
Yeah man, respect man. Hey, you still have to work on your fitness though, you know.
I'm gonna deal with it online.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Next, the latest happenings out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has been in the United States since September 21, representing Jamaica's interests in a number of fora at the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Catch highlights of his assignment in Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is back on the island following a 10-day working visit to the United States of America. On the weekend, Mr. Holness was in the U.S. capital of Washington, D.C. to hold high-level talks with a number of dignitaries. Before that, Prime Minister Andrew Holness was at the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. The week-long engagement saw the Prime Minister co-hosting a high-level luncheon on climate change with his Norwegian counterpart, Erna Solberg. He used Sunday's function to call on world leaders to double their contributions to the Green Climate Fund, GCF. The fund is seeking to raise $100 billion by 2020 to aid developing countries adapt and increase their resilience to climate change.
I am confident that our fund will continue to respond to the needs and ambitions of developing countries, but we need to place it in a position to effectively do so.
On Monday, Mr. Holness addressed a Climate Action Summit where he urged the international community to accelerate climate financing initiatives for developing countries like Jamaica. The Prime Minister argued that though there's been pledges of support, the process was slow and fragmented with many bottlenecks in accessing funds.
Colleagues, there is no silver bullet for climate finance challenges. However, by supporting and promoting existing and new initiatives, we will be taking action that the younger generation is demanding. Remember, they are watching.
And while co-hosting a high-level breakfast panel for sustainable ocean economy Monday, Prime Minister Holness pledged Jamaica's full utilization of a recent United Nations report on the blue economy.
It is my hope that the report before us will serve as a wake-up call globally. Jamaica will examine thoroughly and use it to assist with our national development plan.
On Tuesday, Mr. Holness joined other world leaders to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's birth at a United Nations function. He called on the international community to build on Gandhi's legacy of advocating for the poor and being a catalyst for positive change.
Gandhi's doctrine of nonviolence and sacrifice, together with his vision for a more equitable world, is a source of personal inspiration to my own leadership, and I know that his life's work will continue to inspire new generations to come.
Though Prime Minister Holness was on assignment in the US, he kept a close tabs on the island. On Wednesday, he ordered a probe into reports of disturbances in the public transportation system in the corporate area. Back at the United Nations General Assembly Wednesday, Mr. Holness again called for a change to the way highly indebted middle-income countries like Jamaica are classified. According to the Prime Minister, the classification locks the island out of loan consideration and access to financing that would assist the country in attaining the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs.
I therefore urge development partners to redouble their efforts and contribute resources for the delivery of the 2030 Agenda. We also encourage UN member states and the UN development system to continue fostering an enabling environment for meaningful and durable partnerships for the benefit of all. No one should be left behind.
The Prime Minister made a similar call at a high-level dialogue on financing for development on Thursday. That conference was held under the theme Moving to Fill the Climate Action and SDG Financing. The same was true for a fireside chat held as part of the high-level meeting to review the progress made through the Small Island Developing States Accelerated Modalities of Action or Samoa Pathway. Thursday saw Prime Minister Holness welcoming news that Jamaica would be benefiting from €8 million to tackle gender-based violence. The funds will be available in 2020 and will come from the Spotlight Global Initiative. The program is a partnership involving the United Nations, the European Union, and beneficiary countries aimed at eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls.
We have been taking a strategic and collaborative approach to the issue of gender-based violence, and we are working assiduously with local and international partners to prevent and respond to acts of violence against women and girls.
And on Friday, the Prime Minister addressed the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly. He reiterated Jamaica's commitment to mitigate the effects of climate change by announcing a national tree planting initiative. The 3-year program will be launched this Friday at Jamaica House. It will see over 3 million trees representing every Jamaican citizen being planted across the island.
We remain committed to the reduction of the erosion of watersheds and the attendant impact on coastal ecosystems. We are partnering with others to ensure that our marine environment, on which our socio-economic survival depends, is being sustainably utilized and managed.
Mr. Holness also used the platform to call for greater collaboration to close the financing gap for climate action so that countries can meet the Sustainable Development Goals. A similar call was made to tackle trafficking in guns and drugs.
Jamaica is determined to achieve economic independence and social equity, working collaboratively with our bilateral and multilateral partners.
And the Prime Minister used his assignment to the United Nations to strengthen relations with Jamaica's international partners. Mr. Holness spoke energy security with US President Donald Trump, sustainable infrastructure with his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi, and climate change with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The Prime Minister also paid a courtesy call on the President of the 74th session of the UNGA, Ambassador Tijani Muhammad Bandi. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water settle in open container. For them we read up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Slap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, if you burn mosquito and run with dengue. If pain lick your head and your joints and your eye, and you want fever meat and your temperature high, it could be dengue, don't hesitate. See a doctor, don't self-medicate. For some painkiller can make you bleed and you will try to recover and don't succeed. We no want pop down and fenke. With the burn mosquito and run with dengue. A message from the Ministry of Health.
The Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program seeks to revolutionize the operations of state-owned entities. Already, several public bodies' offerings have been modernized to meet the needs of the 21st century. Take a look at how the use of technology is improving service delivery at the Companies Office of Jamaica.
Transformation is about creating a public sector that can adapt to a radically changing environment to meet the needs of the 21st century citizen. And that's exactly what the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program PSTMP has been doing right here in Jamaica.
Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program is a government-wide initiative managed by the Office of the Cabinet. The program encompasses projects which build the capacity of workers and provide support and direction to ministries, departments, and agencies to enable them to deliver the highest quality of services to people who do business with the government of Jamaica.
One service being transformed is the registration of businesses at the Companies Office of Jamaica. In times past, business or company owners had to go through several tedious steps to complete this process.
the customer would come to the company's office to register a business name. Then he or she would have to go to the tax office to get an NIS number. The transaction cost, the travel cost to do that was high. The time to register a business name was high as well.
In 2008, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries implemented a one-stop-shop program. And in 2014, the Business Registration Form, or BRF, was developed.
You complete the business registration form, more popularly known as the super form. You submit it to the company's office, and once you have done that, once the application is approved, then you are not only registered with the company's office, but you're also registered with the Tax Administration Jamaica. So you get a TRN, Taxpayer Registration Number. You're registered with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, so you get an NIS number, and you are registered to deduct contributions on behalf of your employees for NHT and Hard Trust. So with the introduction of the super form, transaction costs were cut significantly, as well as the time to register. And it was more convenient because you just had to come to the company's office and you'd be registered with all the other business startup agencies.
The BRF has significantly reduced the amount of time to start a business from 6 to 4 days for a company and 4 to 2 days for a business name. To date, approximately 50,400 business names and 14,000 company names have been registered using the form. But it doesn't stop there. In April 2014, the Public Sector Transformation Modernization Program team started working with the COJ to develop an electronic version of the manual business registration form, the EBRF.
The electronic business registration form is just to allow persons to register their business names from anywhere in the world that they are. So they don't need to come into the company's office. They can stay whether they're at their homes or in their offices, as I said, wherever in the world they are, and register their business names. You can find the EBRF form on our website. The website is www.orcjamaica.com.
All that's needed is reliable internet access, a subscriber account with the COJ, an email address, a scanner for uploading documents, and information to register your business or company name. And for those who may not have access to a computer or internet service, the EBRF will be accessible through kiosks set up in revenue service centers across the island, as well as at the company's office in Kingston.
So the kiosks are really set up to allow persons who do not have internet access otherwise to register their business names online. And they will be using the electronic business registration form. That is just an electronic version of the super form. There are 3 kiosks that will be placed at revenue service centers in Montego Bay, in Twickenham Park, and in the Constant Spring tax offices. Those are the first set. There will be other kiosks in the future.
Once you have successfully registered your business or company name on the COJ website, you will get an update within 2 days. A notification will be sent to you via email that the COJ has completed the registration of your company or business name. The email will also include an electronic copy of the certificate of registration. You can then arrange for the registration certificate to be sent to you by courier, or you may pick up the certificate at the company's office.
The international investing community as well as the local investing community, they look at the World Bank's Doing Business Index, in which it ranks country according to the seamlessness of doing business in order to mobilize investments. When an investor is thinking about investing, they look at that index. Now, the company's office plays an important role in the mobilization and creation of businesses. And one of the things that we want is to create business as efficiently as possible, because entrepreneurship is important to economic activity and the acceleration of economic growth. The company's office has space constraint, so they much rather people not come into the office in order to register their businesses because it's a more efficient process. And that is why the electronic registry is so important, because we need to create more businesses in order to accelerate economic growth and to create more jobs in order to improve the quality of life of our people.
The Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, PSTM, will continue to increase public sector efficiency and satisfaction, making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The EBRF is a project of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Company's Office of Jamaica. The project is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank under the Public Sector Efficiency Program.
For more information on the electronic business registration form, you can go online www.orcjamaica.com. You can email us at costsupport@orcjamaica.com, or you can call us at 908-441-9223.
Register your business online. Register your business from anywhere in the world. It's easy to register your business.
Register your business at the Company's Office of Jamaica's website, orcjamaica.com. A message from the COJ and the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Inter-American Development Bank.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye running, belly even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs on here. Message from the Ministry of Health.
We've come to the end of the show for today. Catch us again tomorrow on this station. As we go, be reminded to send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm. You may also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, Twitter. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.